Alrighty, now we're going to look at assignment 1, which is creating a command file that launches idle. Actually, it launches a command file. It sets the path properly. The goal here is to be able to run Python and idle from a command prompt. So, for example, what is a command prompt? Well, it's also called the terminal or the shell, depending upon what operating system you're running. In Windows, you can get to it as easily as hitting the Windows R key. If your keyboard has a Windows symbol, Windows R for run, and then typing Cmd, and there you go. You get a command prompt. Yours may look a little bit different than mine. You know, it's probably got a black background. Like that. So ideally, you would be able to type IDLE there and have it run. And you'd be able to type Python and have it run. Now right now, neither of those are working. And honestly, the solution that I have in the instructions is perhaps not the best one. The best solution would be to actually go and modify the environment variables, the path setting, so that then no CMD would be required, no command file would be required. But let's go ahead and take a shot at looking at the instructions and creating the CMD file, and later I will post an update for modifying the environment variable. So we're going to go into D2L, look at assignment 1, go to the Dropbox, I have to look at it a little bit differently than you are as the instructor, so as you see me click around, it doesn't look quite the same, but here we go. Setting up a CMD file to run Python and idle. So idle is the development environment. The IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So our goal is to create a CMD file, a Windows batch file that will launch a command window with the path set appropriately to run Python Windows. So we're going to write a short Python program that asks for a number and squares it. So check to see if the path is already set. We're going to launch a command prompt. We go to the start window and type CMD, or press Windows R and type in CMD. You could, come down here and find it. And of course, this is unfortunately all assuming that we're on Windows. And Windows 8 and Windows 10 have different ways of launching things. You can always find the search window somehow, or you can always just hit Windows R and get the command prompt that way. Now this type is awfully small, so forgive me while I change the properties a little bit. That's a little bit easier to see. So we type Python. Is it there? No, unfortunately it's not. It would be nice if when Python installed, it added itself to the environment variable so that you could run it from the command prompt, because you can do lots of other things from the command prompt, but we can't do that. You may get an error message, Python not recognized. Okay, this is to be expected. It should work if you installed Python yourself. Unfortunately, I installed Python myself and it still didn't work. If we get the error, we have two choices. One is to add the Python directories to your machine's search path. Or the other is to create a bat file. It's actually a CMD file that will launch Python. This document assumes that we're going to do the second. So here we go. Find your Python directory. We need to find the Python directory. And the directory differs based on whether you install the 32-bit version or the 64-bit version. If you're going to install the 64-bit version, if you've already done that, then you need to find the path to the directory. Well, I'm going to find the path to the directory by using the search box. I'm going to come down here and look for, using search, I'm going to look for python.exe. And then I'm going to click the See More Results. And here we go. It shows us some results. I'm not actually seeing any of the results I'd like to see. I'm not seeing the executable. Thank you so much, Windows. Okay, then I'm going to follow these instructions instead. Going to launch the command window. I'm going to type cd. This is assuming that you're on the C drive. And we're going to do dir python. Excuse me, dir python asterisk. And there we go. Looks like I have a really old Python directory, Python 34. I need to nuke that, need to delete it. I also have another one, Python 35-32. That is the correct directory. I can cd into that directory and do a dir. I still don't see anything. If I go into live, all right. I'm slightly confused. I'm not finding the executable at all. Forgive me while I pause the video and correct the situation. Okay, it saved it in a completely different place. So I'm going to use search to find for it. Here we go. I type in Python. I come up here, it says Python 3.5 32-bit. If you've installed the 64-bit version, it'll say Python 3.5 64-bit, or whatever version is current. I'm going to right-click on it and do Open File Location. If I do that, it'll take me directly to where the file is. Now see, the last version of Python installed itself off of the C drive, C:\Python. This one is installed it in a different place. App data, local, programs, Python, PyCram30. The path is actually considerably longer there. But here we go. We see our python.exe directory there. And if we go looking for the idle live, if we go looking for idle, then it'll be in a subdirectory. So we're going to need both of these paths. Right now, I just want the path to the executable. The easiest way to get it is to go into the directory that contains your executable, and then come up here to this path. This path indicates the directory that you're currently in. I'm going to highlight that path. I just drag my cursor over it, highlight it all, and I'm going to hit Control-C to copy it. Now I have the path. Now we want to create a set python.cmd file. So I'm going to run Notepad, and then I'm going to do a file save as, and save the file to the desktop, naming the file set python.cmd. So here we go. Notepad. I found Notepad by doing a search. I run it. Notepad is a simple text editor. I'm going to do a save as. Save it to the desktop. I mean, you could save this anywhere. I'm going to change this to all files so that it does not save it as a txt file, because this is actually a command file. And we're going to name this set python.cmd. I think I spelled that correctly. Okay. Now we're going to put the following text into Python. Here we go. Set path is equal to blah, 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 and then call start cmd, and then exit. Now that path was considerably different, we noticed. So I need to go back and change this document. But let's go ahead and grab this text, paste it in to our CMD file. I'm going to change the font size a little bit, make this easier to see on a video. There we go. With word wrap on, it wraps around like that. Maybe that's a little bit too big. I'm going to change the font size a little bit smaller. There we go. We see that it's referencing Python 35-32 and Python 35-32 live idle live. But as we noticed, the installer nowadays seems to put it in a different place. So, like I said, search for Python. right click on your search. Let's do this one more time, just to make it clear as crystal. I'm going to search, however you do it in Windows 10 or whatever, do it that way. Search for Python, double click on the entry you find, not double click, I am so sorry, right click on it, choose open file location. That takes you to the directory that Python is in, the executable. You highlight that path with the cursor up there. You copy it, Control C. And you come to Notepad and you paste it. Now where do we want it? We want to replace this thing that says Python 35-32. And then we want to replace it again where it says Python 35-32. But we don't want to replace the part that says live and idle live. There we go. It looks kind of messy because word wrap is not on. If word wrap, excuse me, because word wrap is on. If it wasn't on though, then we wouldn't be able to see all the text. I think I will lower the font size considerably just so that we can eyeball it. I know this makes it almost impossible to see in the video. Well, that's a little bit better. So it says path, set path is equal to, and it's got this %path, semicolon. Then it's got C users, it's got the path to my Python directory. And then it's got the path to that Python directory and the subdirectory that contains the idle bat file. Okay, now we're ready to go. I'm going to click Save again, and then I'm going to run this executable. I need to get back to the desktop to find it. Forgive me for having to close a million things. Now there's nothing on my desktop, but that's because all of my desktop files are actually on another monitor, besides the one being videoed. So there's my set Python command file. I double click it. It sets the path appropriately. And now we are in a command window where we actually can execute Python. There we go. How do we close it? Well, I'm just going to click the close button and then run it again. If I wanted to run idle, I could do that. Seems to be spinning. There we go. There we go. Now we're in idle and I could write a little program, which is the next part of the assignment. So that was a success. We got set python.cmd. We got that correct. We got the path to it correctly. So for the next part of the assignment, we're going to write our little script. So let's go back and get the instructions. All right. So we double click the set Python icon. That launches the command prompt with the path environment set appropriately. Type idle and press enter. That will launch the idle Python shell. Great. In idle, choose file new and enter the following script. All right, I'm going to totally cheat and just copy that. Usually I make the script, an image, so you actually have to type it in yourself. But we're just kind of proving that idle works at this point. Okay, so I'm going to run setpython.exe. I'm going to type in idle to run idle. It launches idle, so I do file new. We're apparently going to name the document hello.py. I actually would prefer that it have a different name. Let's call it square XXX, where XXX are your initials. So I'm going to go back to idle. I'm going to close that window, but here we go. We're in our file new. I paste that, and I do a save as. Now don't save it wherever it offers to save it. Make sure you're saving it into your scripting directory for this class, because it may offer to save it down in the bowels of the Python subdirectory structure, and you don't want it there. So I'm going to go to my scripting directory, scripting class directory. I'm going to call this one square JGT. Click Save. And now I should be able to run it to test it. It says, hello, pick a number, any number, 100. Did you know that 100 squared is 10,000? Good deal. Hit enter to close. Well, that doesn't really close it, does it? But we can always close it that way. Okay, so we've done it. We ran the program and we tested it. We should run it a few more times just to make absolutely sure it works. And then to watch it malfunction, let's type in some bad data. I'm going to go back to it and I'm going to run it again. But I'm going to type in something it doesn't understand, like 1. There. It blows up. And that's a problem that you can get when you write a program and you enter data that it's not expecting. And a good program, a well-written program, will not just crash because somebody types in bad data. But we're not there yet. So I'm going to close that and I'm going to run it one more time with some valid data. 2 squared is 4. That looks great. Take a screenshot of the results and upload that screenshot to the Dropbox. All right, we're good to go. Let me get a screenshot of it. So with this window on screen, I'm going to click the print screen button on my keyboard. And then I'm going to paste that into a new Word document. You can also use WordPad if you don't have Word installed on your machine at home. As a Rose student, supposedly you have access to Microsoft Office and you can install Word. Excuse me, but I'm going to do WordPad. There it is. I assume it's still available in Windows 10. Runs for a little bit, and then I hit Control-V, like vehicle, for paste. And there we go. There's my results, pasted there. So I'm going to save that as results 1 underscore JGT. It says .rtf. That's good enough. Doesn't really matter what kind of document format it is. We could also save it as an Office document, .docx. I think I'll do that. Doesn't really matter. And I'm going to save that in my scripting directory for submitting. There we go. Now I have a document that I can submit to the Dropbox.